Boom. And we are live, Dream Chasers. Welcome to another episode. This is where hustle meets house. And yes, House of Hustle is our sponsor for the show. We love everything that we've been able to do with them so far. Just saying, shout out to House of Hustle. For more information, you guys can go to houseofhustletd.com and see what's popping over there. But as far as what's popping right here, right now, shout out to Camel Fat or whoever wrote the original version of that song right here, right now. Great house music sample. We got LEIIYA in the building. I may slip up a few times here today and call her Leah. Her real name, Leah. You can call me Adam. My sister's name is Leah, so, it just comes natural, right? But we got LEIIYA in the building, who many of you may know. And if you don't know, now you know. She's got a banger out on Tool Room Tracks with someone who I've looked up to for years. It's really cool you got to work with him, Rene Amez. I think if there's anyone who makes drums in our industry that I feel like I've been following for a while, I just love the drums that Rene produces. And I noticed you also like a song that he produced on Tool Room Tracks called Bustin', which is one of my favorite, probably top 10 General Moses, bangers of all time, bangers that I didn't make of all time. That's a really good one. So Rene, I know I'm gonna call you out right now because I know I DM'd you. He knows I want to get him on the show eventually, so we'll use this as a stepping stone, but not to be discounted at all, because we have a legend and someone who's on a very unique journey with us. So Leah, that's enough out of me. Could you just for those tuning in who aren't familiar with you and your background, just tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, for sure. And thanks so much for having me on the show again. Well, it's
Right.
like our second journey together on this show. So my name is Leah. I go by Leia as my stage name, and it's just a bit of the reason why it's so similar to my name is because I want to still be myself, but I've always had this idea of who I am in my full form. And I try to bring that into LEIIYA, the glammed up, the glitzed up, that's just who I am. And I've hid her for a long time out of fear of being seen or success or whatever it is. So I'm Leah. I'm also LEIIYA.
And not to be forgotten or looked over as well, you have new hair.
I do. I was
Tell us about the hair
blonde.
change.
I was blonde for a long time. I loved it. I was starting to, I'm going through, I don't know, I'm just going to say it. I'm going through a spiritual awakening right now. I'm going through something really difficult, really tough. There's so much involved in it. And the blonde just didn't feel like me anymore. I was like, I'm feeling like I have to go into my darkness right now and pull some stuff out of the darkness and bring it into the light. And I don't know, my hair, it's just part of it.
And a little bit of a pun, but seriousness intended as well. Into the Dark. That's the name of the certified banger that you have out there.
Yep.
I want to dive into that. Before I forget, though, one of the main reasons Leah and I are here today, folks, is because we have another banger dropping together on March 5th with Data Transmission, which I'm pumped about. We are going to talk about that today. But speaking of Leah's record, when I say Leah, I'm like, should I say Leah? I'm just going to keep saying Leah.
It's fine. Leah's fine.
Speaking of Leah's record, Into the Dark, she is, in our industry in a position that I think is so unique. And she was kind of sharing with me before we went live, the kind of the challenges that she's facing because of this unique position. It's a position that a lot of people dream to be in, but because it's kind of so hard to do when you get there, it could potentially be quite lonely is what I'm thinking, Leah. So I'd love to hear your thoughts here. And where I'm going with this is her first record is on Tool Room Tracks. That's a huge accomplishment for so many people. And yes, if you're on Leaders of the New School, you're technically on, Tool Room Tracks as well. But when you have that single come out on Tracks, I can't think of anyone who went through the academy with me who didn't want that, So it's a huge accomplishment. It's your first one out there with someone like Rene Amez, and then even you got to go to Tool Room HQ, do a set, which guys go check out Leah's set on the Tool Room website if you haven't already. She's accomplished a lot of things from what I've seen. Some savage in a good way. Someone from the UK told me once that savage means like poopy. I was like, I didn't think about that. As an American would say, some savage networking. So you accomplished some major things, but now I think what you're kind of saying, the dynamic is like you kind of realize like, man, I feel like I gotta continue to hit this level, and that could be, it takes a lot of work. So walk us through that.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing about me that I'm recognizing is everyone's journey is different. And as much as it looks like I jumped right into Tool Room Tracks with a single with Renee Amez. But leading up to that is what we don't see. I've been in the industry since I was 21. I have traveled and toured and played around just as a DJ for, I did it pretty much for 8 years straight. And then I took a break and I got sober, which I'm very open and I talk about all the time. I got sober and I honestly thought I was done with music. I retired. Every time I DJ'd, I didn't feel good. I wasn't into it anymore. And then
Are you in Jewel Kid's Spirit Animals, by the way? Sounds like his story.
Kind of. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we actually. So that's how this all happened was it kind of started off. I was going through a really bad breakup a few years into my recovery. I went to Mexico alone. An old friend of mine was DJing in the jungle in Tulum. I didn't know if I could handle it or not. I went, had the best time. It was 8:30 in the morning. I was sober. I had the best time. And then I moved to Malta, which is where Jewel Kid lives, for university. And I did a semester abroad there and I was connected with Jewel Kid. And him and his friends, they like adopted me in. I went to all these music events and I was just like, I remember the second day I was in Malta, I was at a Ben Clock show and it was in this old castle. It was like the most techno show you could imagine. There's cigarette smoke lingering in the air. Everybody's in black. The lights are super dark. And I'm standing there and I look at my phone. It's 3:30 in the morning and I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I just felt this chill go over my whole body. And I'm like getting emotional right now thinking about that feeling. And I've just been on that since. But to answer your question around what I'm experiencing right now is, and for reference, that was about 2 years ago. I did jump in. I know behind the scenes, I do have all these connections. And one of my strengths that I'm looking at is my ability to network and connect with people. I love doing that so much. But I have this record now on Tool Room Tracks, and I'm in this position now where I'm actually learning that I have to unravel all these deep fears of success and being seen and even being accepted. I have this thing where it's like, I feel like my full self will never be accepted. So I keep her really small. And that's actually doing me and everyone a disservice. But I'm not being myself, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, you have a home here now on House of Hustle where you can be yourself, or Dream Chasers, whatever we are. And thank you for opening up about that. So what have you found is like so far been a remedy to help you get your mind out of that space?
I have been asking for help from people who are doing better than me, from people who I know that are helping other artists, who are tutoring. And then outside of the music stuff, I'm doing a lot of inner work I'm doing like different fear meditations, journaling prompts. I have to have, for me as someone with ADHD, I lack discipline. So if something doesn't give me an instant hit of dopamine, I don't want to do it. Music doesn't give me an instant hit. I have to work hard at this. I have to have discipline. I have to schedule time in. So I actually have someone that I'm investing into myself who's tutoring me and keeping me accountable. And for me, it's like when I have to pay for something, I find it helps me stay a lot more disciplined and accountable. And this person, it's like, I don't know if you know who Mel Robbins is, but she's got an incredible podcast. She always shares about looking at your strengths and your weaknesses, and not in a way that I'm beating myself up, but I'm really good at certain things. And then there's other things that I'm just like, oh. And she talks about outsourcing these things if it's possible. So that's what I'm focusing on, is what am I good at? You know, am I focusing on those, or am I like really focused on the things that I'm not good at? And it's totally okay in music. Like there's all these weird stigmas around like you need to do from A to Z all by yourself. I don't agree with that. I look at the Beatles. If you see the Beatles documentary, how many people are in the studio with them? There's like 20
I
people
don't even
there.
know, but yeah, that sounds like I'm like, yeah, keep going, keep preaching.
You know? So it's
Yeah.
like, it's okay as producers to ask for help in areas. Like, and it doesn't
Yeah.
just have to be mixing and mastering, because that's a thing. It's like we can ask for help or feedback or pay someone to help tutor us or whatever. Like, it's okay to do that.
Amen. I heard Mark's, I wish I could find this interview because it's something that's always stuck with me. I don't remember where he said it, but in one of his interviews, Mark and I was talking about, as a producer, your job is to make it happen, period. Make it happen. It does not mean go through hundreds of hours of trainings on how to get the perk sounded just right. Doesn't mean become the best mixer and master sound engineer out there. It's make it happen. And what I've found is if you're the one who has that initial creative spark to the idea, that's really what matters the most. And I can't speak on behalf of Mark, but I feel like he'd be like, kind of like, yeah, like that's it. So,
Totally.
I mean, to hear you say that, I'm happy you're opening up about it because, yeah, I think it's something that, even from my own experience, probably newer artists aren't aware of just how much support I think you need to get to, not always, right? Not always, but for the most part, to get to the level that a lot of us aspire to get to. Like you're gonna need some help if you want to move fast. So, cool. It's good to hear that you're kind of going through this. I just couldn't agree more with the outsourcing thing too, just from a perspective like what I think what both you and we both know we're really good at networking. Like we love it. We love to talk to people. I got to go to a conference for like, just call it my day job this week, but Adam's, General Mo's gonna be talking all day in heaven.
Totally.
And I know you're
I
like
might
that because
need
I've
like
seen you in
3 or
action.
4 days at the end to recharge my batteries, and I'm like pretty useless, honestly. So that's another thing too, is like people just think that I'm always on. Like it takes me days to recover after, but I love both of them. I love being able to network and yap and talk to people who have similar interests, but I also love the downtime after. Like I love to recharge and take good care of myself after too.
Well, I got to ask you, what do you like to do to recharge?
My recharge is essentially not putting a lot of pressure on what exactly it is I need to do. Just checking in. Like usually I'll order some takeout.
Good
I
start.
might have a bath with some Epsom salts. I like to kind of be just alone with myself. So I might watch a movie or a show, or like, let's be honest, I might doom scroll and find funny memes and send them to my friends. It's like sometimes I do that. It's all just kind of depending on what I need, but honestly, it's just a lot of like horizontal, just chilling. Maybe I just like to kind of I have such a structured schedule, so I like to just not like do anything.
Yeah. Solitude is powerful. As a father of 2 toddlers and a husband, I find solitude isn't quite as attainable as it once was. But the point is when you get those moments, like, maximize them, even if it is doom scrolling, ladies and gentlemen, we all do it. I even heard like similar, you're talking about Mel Robbins. There's someone I know, I follow who's like kind of at her level as far as influence. And he was like, hey, yeah, I get stuck on the toilet scrolling through reels for 45 minutes, just like the rest of you guys,
I honestly
so
think it's honestly just about being honest. Like we have this like idealized version of perfection in our minds of what we have to be doing in order to be happy and healthy and okay. But it's like, we're doing our best, you know. I'm doing my best today, and I'm okay to say that. Like, I've been on my phone, I've been doing things, I've been scheduling things, I probably have emails to get back to. I'm not perfect, and I'm just really easing up on how hard I am on myself around that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you. I love it. So, I didn't know when we started working on this record together that it was going to put me in a position where it's like, now I get to release a record who on her online catalog, it's Toolroom Tracks and now General Moses. I'm like, I'm happy it worked out that way because it just looks cool. But I mean, it looks good for both of us, right? But I'm being honest with you, like that's kind of what ran through my head when I saw the release schedule and how this is all coming together. So remind me, because I remember when you first sent me the files, diving into them. Because you actually, the song that we have coming out, guys, really the spark did start from Leah. Like she had the first song ideas plural, but when did you work on that? Because I actually don't even know. I think you said it was when you were in the academy or something like that.
It was like right after
It was
I got
after the
out
academy.
of, like right after. Oh my gosh, it's just been like, it's interesting how the timelines for these things. So yeah, it was right after, and it was right around the same time I was working on Into the Dark with Renee. It was right around the exact same time. And it's interesting because I do like to like bend genres a bit. So this track that's coming out is definitely different than Into the Dark, but it's like, depending on where and when and what I'm playing, I could fit that in somewhere. You know, it's like if I'm playing at an after hours and it's just straight bangers, I'm going to play our track. You know,
I've
or if
seen you and other people now play it out, and I'm like, man, that sounds. Yeah, we made
it's
it. That sounds
good.
good.
It is good. It's really good.
Yeah.
I was just listening to it again. Like it's unique, and it's like there's a little bit of electro-y vibes in there, like that kind of remind me of like old school electro days. But like, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with it.
I think that there's another message behind. So by the way, guys, the name of the record's New Brunswick. I think I just said the day is coming out. It's New Brunswick, which I kind of selfishly named the track. I know that. I hope you didn't get too mad at me, but
No,
I
I
just
love it.
because you know why I wanted to go with that name was because Leah's showing all these videos of her online DJing in a place in the world that I say definitely most Americans and probably a lot of Canadians hardly even know exists. But they have like this like really engaged group of people that love house music from what I can see. So like we got to name this thing New Brunswick in honor of, we'll just be specific, New Brunswick, Canada. I know there's a New Brunswick, New Jersey. I'm sure there's a Brunswick, UK, because that's
There
why
is, yeah, I think.
there's a New Brunswick. But this is a dedication to the province of New Brunswick, Canada. And I kind of just went on a tangent there. I'll pass it to you while I try to remember what I was going to say.
It's all good. And I was going to like build off of what you said is I love that you see that, because me being in this, I grew up here. I've lived away. I've traveled all over the place. And that's kind of where I found my love and passion for house and techno. Don't get me wrong. I love techno as well. And electronic music, specifically house music, hasn't really been consistently well received here since day one for me. So my goal is, I started Electronic Boutique, which started off as a community radio show. It's now events, and I'm bringing in artists from all over the place. I'm also mentoring specifically like underrepresented, like female LGBTQ artists who are interested in house music, because I have to build it. There isn't any sort of foundation here. You know, there's people who like it. There's some festivals and I love them for it, but there isn't something consistent and there isn't like a community. So my big goal right now is, I'm here in New Brunswick for now. I want to play. I want community. There isn't one. So instead of me living in the problem, I'm going to live in the solution. And it's to build something we talked about that in the academy. We've talked about it in different like traveling with like Pete Griffiths had given that off as advice before. He's like, build it. You know, if it's not already there, build it. We're humans. We're creators. We can build whatever we want out of thin air. Look at the world around us. Everything is built up from an idea. So anyway, I'm on a tangent.
I'll just keep passing back and forth. So I'm gonna say
Coffee
something. Something now that I was thinking about it again, even through this whole process. I'm like, I don't know why I didn't confirm this with you first, but I guess when Into the Dark came out, this is what made me think, oh wait, maybe that's Leah. So are the vocals that we use for the song, is that you?
No, actually.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I know you did the spoken word, and then this is more of like sung. But
yeah, no, it isn't. It's a sample that I found.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You could have fooled me. You could have said it was you. I thought it might have been you.
I know. I have way too much integrity for that, and I wouldn't sleep for 4 days if I lied. So, well,
yeah.
Next track we do, I'll do the vocals on it.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that you're gonna sing.
I might.
Yeah. You could pass it. I mean, I'm if you can't, if you don't want to,
hey,
you don't have to.
Another like Mel Robbins thing. There's lots of different tools and effects to make my singing voice sound good.
There you go, guys. American vocals, whether sung or spoken, maybe even rapped. Who knows? hit up Leah.
Totally.
Yeah. I don't know what filter. What's the rap filter? You might need.
I have no idea, but I'm probably not.
Sidewinder.
Okay.
That's a popular one that is distinctive. I really like Sidewinder.
I probably won't be rapping. Just to clarify for anyone. But yeah.
So what do you have in store this year? I'm pumped about our release, which, for most people who ever watch or listen to this interview, it's already going to be out by the time they hear it. So guys, make sure you go look up New Brunswick on Spotify with Leah and myself. But what's 2025 looking for you as far as just plans in general?
Discipline. So I'm a person, I love travel. I love going to music events. I love going out and doing all those things. But right now, whatever the universe is kind of telling me to sit down, get disciplined, get 2 to 3 tracks out, and really focus on my career on that side. I feel like I'm really strong on my social media game, my networking game, etc. But like we kind of talked about earlier, I had this track on Tool Room Tracks, so it's kind of like it goes up like this, and then if I don't get these things out of my brain and my soul that need to come out, and I just travel or whatever, work too much, that's something I can do, I'm never going to be fulfilled. So right now it's like they say, put the work in and then you can go outside and play with your friends. So I'm putting the work in right now, and then I'm going to come out and play with all you guys and hopefully get some gigs and travel around and, actually be able to feel like, okay, yeah, like I really did this.
I feel you 100%. Especially the travel and the gigs piece. And I think I've noticed a trend with a lot of producers and DJs where they've already lived that life, and then they have kids and they kind of go, oh, you know what, I already did that. Like I got kids now. Like, but for me, I've never, I want that feeling to, play in front of people again. I really have never. I see you again on that New Brunswick stage. I'm like, I need to be there. Like I'm waiting for that moment. But to
come
your
through.
Point,
I got my events. Let's go. Let's bring you in.
Thank you. I'm actually looking forward to that. But what I was going to say to kind of match you is it's a discipline phase for me as well right now, because it's really, I'm kind of putting my own passions and desires in front of my family in this moment who needs me right now. And then once the kids get a little older, get a little more on autopilot, like, I told you today I had emergency daddy duty like 2 hours ago. Like that happens more with toddlers and, whatever. So I'm venting now. I need to cut it out and get back to the interview. Thank you for mentioning discipline was my point. I feel you on the discipline.
Yeah, no, I love that. Like, and I think it's really important for us to share this stuff. Like,
yeah,
everyone's journey is different. Mine looks different than yours. Yours looks different than mine. The thing about the music industry is it's fluid. It's not black or white. There isn't one way to do anything. It's like, that's the creative beauty of this whole thing. To me, I think it's very spiritual that everyone has their own journey in this, that it's like, okay, maybe this worked for this guy, but it's not going to work for me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. What's the best way for our listeners today to follow up and get in touch with you?
I am all over social media, including YouTube, TikTok, all of it. It's just my name, LEIIYA.music. And most of my time is spent on Instagram right now. So that's the best way to get a hold of me. So anyone that has any questions or is around the Maritimes or wants to come play in the Maritimes and they play house music, they can hit me up.
Yeah, check out Leah's her IG. I'm sure you'll be able to find some of the gigs that she's done and events she's done out there. It's really fascinating, and I think there's a lot of people who listen to the show that are kind of in our seats that are looking for more gigs and opportunities, playing in front of decent sized crowds. And it looks like that's why the song New Brunswick, that they got it going on, guys. New Brunswick drops March 5th on Data Transmission. By the way, shout out to Data Transmission, my buddy Lowe's Seca, who is the one. I don't know if you ever met Lowe's, but he's the one that I first sent this record to, and Matt, Graham, who else is on the team there? That's the main ones I know. Carly Wilford, shout out to Carly Wilford. She played our record on her 4 for 4. I hope I'm saying it right.
Her mix.
Her mix. We'll call her her mix. It's called her
radio show, mix show. Why can't we? Why? Where
we love you,
are
Carly.
the words? We love you, Carly. Thank you so much for playing our track on your music thing.
Well said. On that note, you guys, thank you for investing your most valuable resource with us here today, your time, as Leah and I stumbled through this epic interview. It was a really, really good time. Leah, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Love you guys so much.
Yeah, guys, go to houseofhustleltd.com for more information on everything going on at our label. We got some really cool things in store right now, maybe even the General Moses record coming out soon. Best way to do it, stay tuned. Go to houseofhustleltd.com, and we will catch you in the next interview. Remember, in all you think, say, and do, take it to the next level.